Heat is added to a 275-gram sample of H2O solid to melt the sample at 0 degrees Celsius. Then the resulting H2O liquid is heated to a final temperature of 75 degrees Celsius.
Q equals MHF. So Q equals, the mass is 275 grams times HF is 334. So Q equals 91,850 joules.
Heat is added to a 100-gram sample of H2O solid to melt the sample at 0 degrees Celsius. Then the resulting H2O liquid is heated to a final temperature of 75 degrees Celsius. Determine the total amount of heat required to completely melt the sample.
So this is heat of fusion. So Q equals MHF. Q equals the mass, which is 100, times HF, which is 334. So Q equals 33,400 degrees in joules.
Compare the amount of heat required to vaporize a 200-gram sample of H2O liquid at its boiling point to the amount of heat required to melt a 200-gram sample of H2O solid at its melting point.
So this one is pretty simple. It's just the heat required to vaporize a substance is greater than the heat it takes to melt a substance. So
A lot of heat is added to a 200-gram sample of H2O solid to melt the sample of 0 Celsius. Then the resulting H2O liquid is heated to the final temperature of 65 degrees Celsius. Determine the total amount of heat required to completely melt the sample.
So this is another heat of fusion question, which Q equals MHF. And the mass that they gave us was 200. So the mass is 200. Heat of fusion is 334. Q equals 66,800. That's it.
Units.
Joules.
Always remember that, kids. Always remember that.
Put the units.
What is the minimum amount of heat required to completely melt 20 grams of ice at its melting point? So this is another heat of fusion question. And the mass is 20 times, again, 334, which would equal to 6,680 joules.
Hello guys, today we'll be reviewing topic 4 of chemistry, physical behavior of matter. The first question is,
what is the total number of joules released when a 5-gram sample of water changes from liquid to solid at 0 degrees Celsius? So this is a heat of fusion question. And the heat of fusion equation is Q equals MHF. And Q represents the heat in joules, M represents the mass, and HF represents the heat of fusion. So we know that we're looking for the heat in joules, and we know that mass is 5. And we're multiplying that by the heat of fusion, which according to the reference table is 334. So Q would equal to 1,670 joules. That's it.